Guys live?
What? Back to? Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the GG33 show. This is my own show, my first show I've done by myself in 9 years. And I want to point something out. Today is the 22nd. I want to take you back to 9 years ago. 9 years ago, when I had another podcast on something called the DSN. And let me tell you guys, just listen and watch and bear with me. I'm gonna get better at this, but right now, let's do it.
Go save those passengers. Absolutely amazing what's going on and people around the world. So before I get into what's going on, today is February the 22nd, 2011. And
February 22nd, 2011. I had a show on the DSN, and this year I started again. And one of the reasons for that is I am in the 3-year cycle in numerology right now. 3 is the number of communication. Communication starts with C. C is the third letter. So again, the alphabet and numerology align, especially with the English language. Hebrew's another one, Greek's another one, but especially English. A couple of topics I want to talk about today. One of them being numerology, one of them being politics, and we're going to get to how I'm going to take care of Jack and Twitter, because I have been so unfairly targeted by these big tech companies, and we'll talk about that as well. But the first thing I want to talk about today is something that's absolutely startling to me. We're going to start off with politics. And let me tell you guys something. When it comes down to it, you had the Trump administration that was in a lot of trouble with some fake Russian Spygate. I told you guys a long time ago, there is no truth to Russiagate. The media lied to you. Turned out to be right. They went after Trump for impeachment. They went after Trump for almost everything in the book. But then I saw this, and it kind of shocked me that why wouldn't the mainstream media put up with this? Let's take a look. Trump fires attorney in New York who investigated his inner circle. So again, I want to explain what is going on here. There's 93 attorneys in the United States. Now, the president has the power to basically get rid of them whenever he wants. Yet, there's one district that's more powerful than anything else, and that is the Southern District of New York. If you guys ever watched a show on Showtime called Billionaires, it does a lot with that district. And that district is supposed to have a lot of independence and yada, yada, yada. So basically what I want you to understand, what went on here, is this guy who is the district attorney for New York, Southern District of New York, the most powerful district there is in the United States, because that covers Wall Street, that covers all of them. He got fired by the president of the United States, Donald Trump. Now, what's important about this was this particular individual was investigating Trump's inner circle, and he's fired. Now, if I'm the Democrats, this is my smoking gun. I found it. This is my smoking gun. Yet, not too many people are talking about it. Yet, not too many people are interested in hearing about this. The media isn't even bringing this up. This is the one issue you could get Trump on. You can't get him on fake Russia spies. You can't get him on bogus ass phone calls to Ukraine. That's all bogus stuff. You can't get him on that. This is something you can get him on. And what did the Democrats do? Nothing. So again, what this shows you is this is all a dog and pony show by the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, here's my problem with politics. Both these guys are scumbags. What you have to understand is both of these guys are scumbags, Trump and Biden. But what you really have to understand is deep down, all these guys are on the same team. They all take orders from the Rothschild. That's all they do. And this is how you know. This is the smoking gun. He fired a district attorney who was going after his boys. and the Democrats are silent? Something's not right. They would have went after him. And this is how you know it's all a dog and pony show. I told you for 5 straight years, Obama and Trump are in the same freaking team. They've been propping each other up for years. And I wanted to point this out in the very, very beginning of this podcast to show you how corrupt everything is. Now, I'm still going to tell you to vote for Trump. Not because I like him, because I don't. I'm still going to tell you to vote for Trump. Not because I think he's a good guy. No, I think he's a piece of shit. But Trump is the puppet with the least amount of strings. Biden, for all we know, might be a pedo. One thing I can promise you about Trump, he likes them ladies. So at least you got that going for you. Anyways, that's the first thing I want to talk about. Now let's go into something completely different. Let's talk about Twitter. You know, Alex Jones has been targeted. Milo has been targeted. A lot of conservatives have been targeted. And since May 11th of last year, they've taken down 10 of my accounts. Now, Zero Hedge got suspended. They opened a new account. No one went after them. A lot of people open new accounts up after they're suspended, and no one goes after them. But they went after me. Very important to understand. They went after me. But see, most of the people who try to sue Twitter, they sue them for different reasons. Because of left versus right. Well, you're not going to win that argument because Twitter's a private company. You can't really win that argument unless you change the rules, which there's a case for that. Because in this day and age, I believe that social media is just like a public utility. You can't turn off someone's public utility because you disagree with their politics. Oh, Johnny's a liberal. Let's turn off his water. Oh, Brad's a conservative. Let's turn off his gas. We don't do that, at least not in America, at least not that I know of. We don't do that. Yet, we do that with social media. Social media has become so powerful, it should be named a public utility, and people should not, like Twitter, should not have the ability to remove your internet footprint. That is the argument we're supposed to make in court to change the laws when they bring on the antitrust case against Twitter, Facebook, Google, and all the left-wing companies. Yet, that's not going to be my case either. See, in 2015, the first time I got a suspension and I got around it because I knew someone, it basically went like this. I knew that they'd come for me. I knew they'd come for my scalp at some point. So in 2015, I trained strategies. Instead of building myself up all the time, I started building up my students all the time. Because I knew my account would be gone at some point. And my students are not as political as me, nor should they be. And what you have to understand is, at that point, I started growing their accounts, not mine. See, this account doesn't matter. None of these accounts matter anymore. They'll suspend me again. I'll be back on with 4,000 followers within the week. So it'll be the same cat and mouse game. And I think Twitter is really sick of it because what they've done to me is very different than what they did for other people. They've actually broken their own rules to go after me. And I want to see if this works on here. So see, here's my website, GaryTheNumbersGuy.net. And if you go through Twitter, let's see what happens. It didn't happen here, but if you guys go through Twitter yourself, about 50% of the time, it's going to go to spam. So when you click on my link, about 50% of the time, Twitter sends it from spam. And by the way, it only happens on Twitter. That's illegal, Jack. That's illegal as hell, Twitter support. And believe me, I got the videos for it. But they basically went after me by making sure that people click on my website. 50% of the time, it's going to direct from spam if you do it through Twitter. That is highly illegal. And Jack's going to have to answer for that in court. Now, I want you to understand something. They didn't do this to Alex Jones. They didn't do this to Milo. They haven't done this to any of these guys. They did this to me. Why is very important. Because see, what the difference is between me and most people is I speak my mind. No matter if you agree with my politics or you don't, you have to understand by now is I don't give a fuck. I will say what I want. And I'm as fair as balanced as possibly can be in this day and age of promoting narcissism, in this day and age that we promote vanity, in this day and age that everything is sexualized, in the age of sexual deviance, insane leftists, they don't want you to hear the truth. And that's why they make sure you get fired. If you say something against the mainstream narrative, they will go after your job. They will go after your livelihood. And people see that example and they shut up. But see, I'm a little bit different. Let me tell you why. One, yeah, fire me. I work for myself. I don't answer for myself. You can't fire me. Now, they do these tactics where they misdirect people to my website. They try to bring me down. I mean, for instance, didn't I say we're going to have a world economic crisis in 2020? I did say that. But see, my tweets are gone, so people don't see it. Or when I said that COVID-19, they're going to start shutting things down, I did say that. It did happen. Never before it happened in history, but I said it would happen. Or when I said Joe Biden would be the Democratic nominee, when Bernie Sanders was looking at the favorite, people calling me a joke. Well, Sanders somehow pulled it off. Now, Susan Rice hasn't won yet. I'm not going to take credit. But when I said she would be the vice presidential nominee, she was plus 9,000. Now she's plus 250. Calling a lot of stuff here. So they need to keep suspending my accounts to make sure my voice does not get too big. Because if numerology was still around, wasn't any shadow bans, I'd be well over 100, 120K. And that way, I would have a bigger voice. No. Because they can't go after me financially like they do other people. So they go after me in these ways. I might be a test subject for them. Who the hell knows? But it is what it is. And it's very important that they don't do this to anybody else. Because I haven't seen them do this to anybody else yet. But trust me, the 10 to 20 complaints I get a day saying, oh, your website redirects. Oh, only through Twitter. Don't worry, we take plenty of videos. We'll have plenty of evidence for the court system. But Jack fucked up. And maybe this time next year or in 2 years, I'll own Twitter. Because this was a big mistake. And my solution to this is to make sure social media is treated like public utilities. You can't turn off someone's utilities because you disagree with their politics. You can't turn off their gas, their water, their electricity because you don't like their politics. That is how social media needs to be regulated. Now, usually I'm a conservative and I'm against regulation. But I'm going to tell you guys something. If I was growing up in the 60s, I probably would have been a moderate. Because I'm sure as hell ain't for the church and I'm sure as hell ain't religious. But then again, I don't like what's going on in this day and age too. LGBT, everything. So this is basically how you have to pick between societies. You either pick the religious church with their dogma and all of that nonsense that goes with it, or you pick these root chakra people who are nothing more than sexual deviants. So it's a grim choice. But for me, it's all about being straight up balanced as much as possible. Because while people do hate me, and I do have a lot of haters, I also have a lot of people who got a lot of love for me. And everything comes down to balance. So again, I did want to bring this up about what I will be doing to Twitter in the future. And who knows, I might have a new account tomorrow. You never know with these people. And at this point, they never should have done that, because I was perfectly happy just doing periscopes every now and then. But you want to do this? All right, I'll open a completely new forum just for GG33. By the way, if you want to check it out, it's the GG33forum.com. And again, censorship free, unless you talk shit about me. Then you're out. No, I'm just kidding. I'll take criticism too. Anyways, next thing I want to talk about. Where are we going here? This right here. I want you to listen to this beautiful voice, and then you'll understand why I'm playing this on my podcast. Listen to this. This is a little girl. That girl got some pipes. That girl got some pipes. And, you know, if someone was a fan, they'll be like, wow. And just leave it at that. Not me. See, I'm a numerologist and astrologer. I go deeper. And you see, this person happens to be born November 4th, 2009. She basically got discovered or made it big in a rat year. So we have a person who's born in 2009, an ox, making it big in a rat year. Yeah, can you believe that girl is that young? That freaking young. With pipes like that. But it's very important to look at her birthday. Why is she making it now? Very simple. She's an ox, and this is a rat year. And those are soulmate signs. See, when you understand at least the very basics of Chinese astrology, which is by far, the strongest astrology out there. Over Vedic, definitely over Western. And let me explain why Chinese astrology, actually that's not even the right term for it. I should call it Earth astrology, or even better yet, Vietnamese astrology, because it's more Vietnamese than Chinese. But I want to point this out. When you look at Chinese astrology as a whole, it's based off the planet Earth. Every other form of astrology besides Celt, every other form of astrology is based off planets millions of miles away, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Vedic astrology. It's all based off planets and moons and cycles. Chinese astrology is the only one based off this Earth. So let me ask you a logical question. You don't even have to be an astrologer to get this one. And the question is this: what makes more logical sense? That planets, and I'm not arguing that they work. Again, I'm not arguing the validity of Western astrology or Vedic astrology. They work. The whole question and premise here is, what is more effective? And again, Chinese astrology, Earth astrology, Vietnamese astrology, whatever you want to call it, it's based off the Earth. We're all born on the Earth, at least that I know of. So, what makes more sense? The Earth astrology affects us, the planet we're born on, or planets millions of miles away? Again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist for this one. We know how this works. So again, that is the Cliff Notes version of why Chinese astrology is by far the most effective form of astrology. Anyways, let's go back over here. And one of the things I wanted to point out was how numerology supersedes astrology. And again, some of you guys might have heard this before, but it's worth pointing out there. And the reason it's worth pointing out there is this. Everyone knows that Gemini is the sign of communication. This is not news. This is not GG33 knowledge. But what it is it shows you that Gemini is also the third sign. Third sign, Gemini. As a numerologist, or at least as a skilled numerologist, you have to understand that the number 3 tells you a lot, if not more, about the Gemini than the sign itself. I'll give you an example. Again, Gemini is the sign of communication, but 3 is the number of communication. Communication starts with C again. C is the third letter. So again, you see how the numerology supersedes the astrology itself. Think, people. Think. That's what the Aquarius age is all about. It's all about thinking with metaphysical, learning to think a whole new way. And honestly, that's what it's going to take to beat these right here. The Chinese are using metaphysical knowledge against the United States of America. That back here, that's a symbol of hate. That might as well be a Nazi flag. By the way, Nazis were red, so was the Chinese. These people right here, they use numerology and astrology all the time. I'll give you an example. Chairman Xi, the president of China, or who I like to call the comrade. He is born in 1953, the year of the snake. He became president in 2013, the year of the snake. So a snake takes power in the snake year. That's extremely positive. Since 2013, China has really expanded their GDP. Now they're pushing in ways that no one has ever seen them push before. What's that? When it comes down to the Chinese, they're not the only ones doing it. I mean, Russian President Vladimir Putin came to power in 2000, was reelected 2012. He's a dragon, born 1952. Russia has really risen up since he became the president. Now let's go to America. George W. Bush, born 7/6/1946, one of the worst presidents in American history. Complete piece of garbage. George Bush came to power in 2000. 2000 was a dragon year, and he was born in the year of the dog. Dogs and dragons are enemy signs. Never good to come to power in your enemy year. George Bush's presidency was a complete failure. One of the reasons, just that. You want more examples? That's fine. Mussolini, born in the goat year, comes to power in an ox year, his enemy sign in Italy. And who does he befriend? He takes Italy to war with the Nazi Germany, and Nazi Germany is headed by an ox. So Mussolini came to power in his enemy year and made a deal with his enemy. Italy was destroyed under his leadership. Saddam Hussein, born in an ox year, comes to power in 1979. Year of the goat, his enemy year. Iraq was attacked 1991, and he was taken out in 2003. Both goat years. So a man who comes to power in his enemy year destroys that country as well. Bush did a hell of a job of destroying this country. And now we have Joe Biden. Joe Biden, born in a horse year, is running for president in a rat year. If he wins, kiss this country goodbye. And that is the fundamental reason why you need to vote for Trump. Because yes, he's a piece of shit. Yes, he's probably not as bright as people think he is. From what I understand from talking to people who've talked to him, he usually goes with the last person in the room, last voice he hears. That's who he goes with. I don't have many nice words to say. Yet he's still the best president I've ever lived under. And that's pathetic and scary and reality all at the same time. But if Joe Biden gets in, if Joe Biden wins, well, we're going to have a president come in his enemy year, and it won't be good. And now you know. So even if you're a Democrat, even if you're a liberal, you have to understand that even if you detest Donald Trump called me a loser on Twitter. I'm not you know me, I hit back hard. Still voted for guys, swallowed my pride and voted for it because I understand what the other side's going to bring. It's nothing good, and it's a lot worse. It is better to deal with the devil you know than the devil you don't. Especially one coming to power in his enemy year. Very important to understand that. I remember in 2016, I helped the Trump campaign win. Used to stump on WTAM for the guy all the time. That's the biggest radio station in Ohio. Tell people to vote for him. Used to, get VIP at his rallies. As a matter of fact, I was one of 5,000 people invited to his inaugural ball at the second level. I was, there with Floyd Merriweather and owners of NFL teams. Funny part is, of all the billionaires that were there, Floyd Merriweather was the only one who had bodyguards. It's something else. But yeah, I was there for the whole 9 yards. Took pictures with the campaign manager, everything. And then I said something negative about Trump in 2017. Again, I was mostly positive at that point, but I said something negative at that point. And he had a rally in Cleveland, and I, called my dude up, and I'm like, hey, give me my VIP. Yeah, this has never been a problem before. And he's like, yeah, sure. Calls him back next couple of days. He's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but they said no. Absolutely amazing. So again, that's what this guy and his relationship's been like. I actually told Trump to his face on the 22nd, interestingly enough, on October 22nd, 2016, at the IX Center in Cleveland, Ohio. I told him that he would be the president of the United States, and he looked shocked. And I said numerology and astrology, and he smiled. He did not think he was going to win. He did not think he was going to win. I did, but he didn't, and that tells you a lot. After all of that, I'm still going to vote for him. And I explain my reasons why. So, yes, they want to call you a racist, a homophobe, all that good stuff. Doesn't matter. They don't know what I know, and they don't know what now you know. Joe Biden gets in. Kiss this country goodbye. And now, let's talk about the greatest enemy of our time. Now let's go back to the CCP and talk about how they actually use numerology and astrology. So this is world exclusives now I'm dropping on the first episode. I'm going to break down how the Communist Chinese Party uses numerology and astrology against others and to benefit them. America's been through a few wars. That's no secret. But what you have to understand is there's a certain war I want to go to. And the certain war is this, the Korean War. 1962, the Americans came in there and they basically defended the South Koreans, and they got the North Korean capital, and they had the North Koreans on the run. It was pretty much over. And then there was a surprise attack. Chinese, 1962. The Chinese committed a surprise attack. The Pentagon was caught off guard. American allies, the UN, everyone was caught off guard. And again, I wasn't even born yet. But I understand what they did. 1962. Right when the Americans were about to liberate all of Korea, the Chinese attacked them. The Chinese attacked America in 1962, and they attacked Americans' ally, India, at that time as well. And the reason they waited until 1962 is because 1962 is the year of the tiger. And that's very important to understand because America was founded 1776, the year of the monkey. What you have to understand is the Chinese attacked America for the first time in their enemy year. But you see, the American government doesn't understand this. Because while the American government has the edge at this point and that point in history with military technology, while they have an edge with finances, they're only fighting a front on two wars: soft power, finances, and hard power, which is basically guns and warns and tanks. They're fighting the war on two fronts. The Chinese are fighting it on three. Not just with money, soft power, not just with bullets and tanks, hard power, but also using occult power. They attacked America for the first time in their history in America's enemy year. That is no coincidence. They knew. Imagine dealing with the Nazis. The modern day, the Chinese Communist Party. And the Nazis just didn't have their superior technology, but they also had this knowledge I have in my head. Knowledge I'm passing off to you. Occult knowledge. They attacked America in their enemy year. Know your enemy. This is your enemy. To the Black Lives Matter folks, while you do have a legitimate grievance, I want to point this out. If America is a white supremacist nation, I'm not going to argue that. That's not what I'm talking about here. But let's go by that premise. I'm not even going to argue that. Let's say America is a white supremacist nation. That means that white supremacy has benefited African Americans within this country. And before you look at me and say, Gary, what are you, fucking nuts? Let me explain. There's about 40 million Black Americans in America. 40 million. That 40 million has more combined wealth than over 1 billion Black people outside of America. So again, 40 million American Blacks have more economic power than 1 billion Black people outside. Now, if that comment triggers you, that is your problem. That is not my problem because that is factual. And the reason I'm telling you this is very simple. As bad as you believe you have it here, the rest of the world is a lot worse. And if you want to keep marching now, you risk dividing the country. Because let's be honest, you saying Black Lives Matter, someone's going to say White Lives Matter. This is the little kindergarten games. You say this, I say this, blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to happen. That is why Black Lives Matter is so ingenious. Because they know as soon as you say that, you're going to say the other one. Now it's Blue Lives Matter. But what I will not accept is saying all lives matter is racist. I will never accept that. Because remember, people can justify anything in life. Stalin justified killing 50 million people. You can justify anything in life, but we all know the difference between right and wrong. And obviously, all lives matter includes white, black, and everything. Or just say lives matter, because everything else has been politicized. And the reason I'm saying this again is in this country, we can't divide it. Because if we do, they win. They are actively funding Antifa. There's been talk that they're going to invite Black Lives Matter leaders to Beijing, the Chinese capital. Why are they doing this? Because they care about the black man's plight? Hell no. I don't give a fuck. Do you know they don't even let black people into malls in China? They're the most racist people in the world. They have like 2 million Muslims in internment camps. Internment camps. They don't give a damn. They just want to help you divide America. If America falls, they take over. It's divide and war tactics. Divide and conquer tactics. Art of war. They wrote it. Understand your enemy. That is your enemy right there. The Chinese Communist Party. It was announced today that one of Trump's advisors said the trade deal is off with China. It should have been off a long time ago. The Chinese are known liars. They told people in 1997, they told the British government, Hong Kong will have 50 years autonomy. They knew back then they were lying. China, founded 1949. 1949 is the year of the ox. They got Hong Kong back. 1997, year of the ox. Let me tell you how oxes do things. With an iron fucking fist. That's how oxes play. Oh, you want some proof? Yeah, I got that for you because I'm Gary the Numbers guy. Saddam Hussein, born 1937, year of the ox. He just straight butchered people. First day he came to power, he called all the Ba'ath Party to auditorium. And he went to the stage and he started reading off names. And then military soldiers would come in, get that person, and then 2 minutes later you hear a shot in the back. Someone's down. That's how he took power. With the iron fist. Hitler, born 1889, year of the ox. He did not allow any dissent. Interesting thing about Hitler was he started losing the war in 1943. Lost the Battle of Kursk. That was the end of it. 1943 is the year of the goat. Again, ox's enemy sign. Napoleon, born year of the ox, ruled the iron fist. So, by China being founded in 1949, that's all they understand. All they understand is brute force. Now, someone would say China's never attacked anybody. Yeah. Ox is just building up his time. Just building up. You know, another interesting parallel about Nazi Germany and China. Nazi Germany had the Olympic Games 1936, year of the rat. China had in 2008, year of the rat. Trust these people. And I was telling people back then, when China was the 17th or 15th biggest economy in the world in 2008, I was telling before then, watch out for these fuckers. Because they want world domination. And they don't play. If they don't like you, they will just take you out. They have taken over Tibet. They have taken over Mongolia. Those are not their lands. They took it over with the iron fist. They're going to Hong Kong with the iron fist. They're going to talking shit to Taiwan. They want to take that with the iron fist. They will not stop. All they understand is brute force, because that is all the ox understands. Zionists in the CCP, Zionists in the Democratic Party, Zionists in the Republican Party. Listen, you want to talk about Zionists? We're taking this discussion to a whole different level. That's the top of the pyramid. We're not talking about the top of the pyramid. We're talking about this right here. And the reason we're talking about this right here is because we pick the battles we can fucking win. It is not set in stone that China has to lead the New World Order. That is not set in stone. And I've seen examples of this not set in stone. America, like my little pop-up, America can still lead the New World Order. And there will be a New World Order. Don't kid yourself and think there won't be one. And what I'm trying to tell people is this right here, with all its faults, with all the misery it's caused, it is still the symbol of the most freedom that the people of this planet have ever had. Under this flag. The problem with society today is they want to shut you down. If they disagree with what you're saying, they want to shut you down. Where before 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was different. If I disagree with you, I hate you, but I will fight for your right to say it. Now it's completely different, and it's important to understand why it's different now. In the 18, 17, 16, 1900s, the New World Order never could have pulled it off. And the reason for that was there is a number one in every single year. 1920, 1999, you still have at least one. One is independence. One is male energy. When the calendar shifted to 2, that's female energy. So we went more from a logic-based society to an emotional-based society because of the 2 energy there. And what the elite have learned to do very well now is how to emotionally trigger people. And what am I talking about here? Any idea? Well, women definitely get triggered, but they were getting triggered before. They trigger betas. And they trigger black people. Because black people start with the B. B is the second letter. And they're very, very emotional about the race issue. All by design. See, what the elite do is they plan these things way ahead of time. It is no coincidence that they always pit black and white against each other. Black, when you write it down in numerology values, it adds up to an 11, and so does white. As above, so below. That's why those two are always pitted against each other, because what you have to understand is this. As long as whitey's fighting everyone else over here, no one's looking over there at the real oppressor. No one's looking at them. And the real oppressor, he's the one that's socially manipulating everything. But see, here's the beauty. If you understand numerology and astrology, you can see past all that bullshit. And again, I understand most of the people watching this podcast, you haven't taken my classes and stuff like that, and nor am I selling anything. The fact of the matter is this. Just following my free content makes you guys better right now than all the numerologists of 10 years ago. And that's just plain facts. Now, with my students, I can take it to a new level. And they can piece some of the stuff together I'm saying here, take it to that level. But what I want you guys to understand is the greatest threat in human history right now, the CCP. And I've shown you, without a shadow of a doubt in this video, how they use numerology and astrology against the United States of America. But now, I'm going to show you something else. This is something I revealed to my students, and now I'll share. Actually, I revealed this to FBI too. So, what I want to do is I want to show you something very, very interesting. I'm going to show you how the Chinese have actually used numerology and astrology in everyday life. One example, some of you guys have known because I've talked about it before. Another one you're about to learn right now, and this is a GG33 secret that's going to be out to the public. So I hope you guys are ready for this. Huawei! You've heard a lot about this company. And a lot of it, of what you heard, is from the US side. It's most likely true. They're basically a front group for the CCP. They're a spy agency. But it's very important to understand how they use numerology and astrology. First thing I want you to look for is Huawei starts with the H. H is the 8th letter. So there we have 1-8. Next, I want you to look at their logo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, they're using a logo with 8 different shapes. And then look very, very carefully at the word Huawei. You don't see it, but you will in a second. Because you understand, with the English language, it's all about spelling. You're casting spells. Well, the spell here of Huawei is definitely all about money, but the last 8 is right here. E-I. How is 8 spelled? E-I in the beginning. That, my friends, is real numerology and astrology. Not the kiddie shit that people put on Twitter. You know, it's kind of embarrassing that the best information that the astrologers and numerologists can come up with outside of GG33 is stuff they stole from GG33. You know who you frauds are. But again, Huawei. 1-8, 2-8, 3-8s. Know your fucking enemy, the CCP. And I have shown you again how they use numerology and astrology to basically rule. They want to rule the world. They already said they're going to rule the world by 2049. They've already said that. I've already talked about how the Chinese start the Olympic Games on 2/8/2008. Look at this. Chinese craze for 8s. 888. They even tell you. They tell you what's going on. But again, other than Gary the numbers guy and a few of my students, no one's going to show you this. No one's going to bring this up because they're not aware of it. The CCP is the biggest enemy in world history. They must be confronted. And whether you're a liberal or a conservative or you detest everything I stand for, because you're all militant, Black Lives Matter, homosexual, and you're all against me. The reason you should still support what I'm saying is very, very simple. Because if the United States is destroyed, you got no rights under them. They don't give a fuck what your life is. It does not matter to them. We have to take these people out. And if we don't take these people out, you have to understand, they're going to take us out. They're going to take us out. It's survival of the United States versus the communist Chinese. It is basically evil versus lesser evil. No, I did not say America was a great nation. It's done evil things and it will continue to do evil things. You have to understand, America is still the best country in world history, as evil as it is. You know, one of the most evil things America's done was give the Indians blankets filled with smallpox. Who the fuck does that? I mean, how does that even go in your fucking head? Yes, the Americans were guilty in the slave trade. So were the Jews, the Arabs, and blacks themselves. So you can't just put that on them. But they've also been a force of good. America's responsible for more prosperity than any influence in world history. And what you have to understand is the less people are out of poverty, that's really the best thing you can do. Take us out as many people out of poverty as possible. Because if you do that, give people the opportunity, no matter what their skin color is. And lastly, I want to say this. Whether you've been following me for 10 years, 15, or just started, understand one thing. If you're a black man, chances are Dr. King is more of a brother of mine than he ever will be of yours. Sounds like a crazy statement, yet, right? Certainly a statement no other white person would say. But this is the difference between me and most of the people in society. I'm not looking at Dr. King as a black man. I'm looking at him as a Capricorn, just like me, and that's my people. Just like LeBron James, a Capricorn is my people, just like Muhammad Ali, a Capricorn is my people. Start judging people by numerology and astrology and race them away. It really will. People should respect the differences they have between. That's simple. Anyways, in the future podcasts, we'll have guests, and I will surprise you guys with who I can get on. Sometimes I might get someone on, and their voice will be muffled, just so you guys can't figure out who it is. But it will be someone that even Joe Rogan can't get. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to call it quits, and it is what it is. In closing, smart take from the week. Wise take from the smart.